if you prefer something a bit more cool.
That's my favorite.
That's the best one. Easily the best. Can we put that at the start of the video? Okay, cool. We're good. Hello, good morning, good evening, and welcome to Time+Tide. My name's Andrew.
My name is Bodna.
And today we're talking about Casio Edifice.
Yeah, absolutely. This sort of sub-brand of Casio, there are many. We'll cover them a bit more in the future, but you've done some research about these.
I've done a little bit, and look, the fact is, I've never really understood the brand positioning of Edifice. Obviously, Casio is a brand that we're all nostalgically connected to. We could talk Casio stories all day, and then G-Shock, we don't even need.
I mean, G-Shock is almost a brand on its own now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So, whereas Edifice, I think, is needing some illumination, and that's what we're doing here today. When you Google Edifice, or when you look on the Wikipedia page, the word that pops out in the introduction is that it is the professional line of Casio watches.
That's right. But it might not be professional as what you've come to expect, you know, this sort of Rolex sporty sort of type. These are professional in the sense of an office professional. So
yes.
Someone coming in, you know, day to day, sort of wearing a blazer and a suit, something along those lines. But that still wants something that they can wear on the weekends that has some extra features. Some of these are very simple, but some of them offer some really features that I've never seen before.
Yes, and we actually think, having gone into it and having worn these watches a little bit, there are things that are going to appeal to watch lovers here, because there's some real attention to detail. They have some really nifty sort of distinguishing features in terms of technology that, you know, we're starting to see big box brands and Swiss brands adopt some of this solar technology, and there's a lot of excitement around this in probably a more traditional Time+Tide space. So we thought we'd bring that to you. But look, in a general overview, we would say yes, they're professional in the sense that they're well finished and that they are definitely designed for daily wear. And they're also quite different in terms of how complicated they are and what they offer. So to go broadly speaking through what we have here, we have time-only models.
Exactly. So we've got one on a bracelet here with a white dial. This sort of teak sort of finish.
And we have a black dial with like the garage door dial, which is common across.
I like that.
Really, ever since I heard that, that's the only way I describe a Nautilus or an Aquaterra. And then we have that on leather. So we have sort of what would be a nice Quartz daily wearer.
That's right. 100 meters water resistance as well. They're pretty nice and thin as well, so if you are wearing a tighter shirt cuff, shouldn't be a problem at all. So yeah.
And then we get into what, like, if I was saying to Borna, what are the design cues that really sum up Edifice? And you had a very specific answer.
Yeah, it's Motorsport really. Mm-hmm. When you dive into their more, I guess the watches that really embody the Edifice brand, that are not just sort of your simple everyday wears, it is Motorsport where it really comes into its own. So the watch that Andrew here is wearing is the Nismo. So, you know, it's an interesting niche that they've started to fill with Nismo, going that specific. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a cool brand. It's based on the Nissan GTR. So and all of these other pieces that we see here feature some sort of more obvious cues. Some feature some more subtle cues, like, you know, the pattern around the solar cells. It looks like the grille of a car. Some of the coloring reminds you of an exhaust pipe, a titanium exhaust pipe.
Yeah, focus on that, because let's go move it through systematically. So we have the time only, that is just a nice competitive offering. The price point's obviously very attractive.
Exactly.
And they come with that strong Casio brand, and they're an elevated version of a Casio. We start getting interesting around the Quartz chronographs, because we do bring in the Motorsport story.
Exactly right.
And there's an impressive amount of, like, talk me through this watch, because I'm wearing it, because we had some different fit and feel experiences with this watch.
That's right. The one you're wearing here, it is a large watch. So you've got about 47.5 millimeter diameter, more than 50 millimeters lug to lug. So it just won't appeal to
12.9 height, so the height's quite reasonable.
Right. Exactly right. So if you do like a bigger watch, regardless of your wrist size, this one will be right up your alley. I found it a little too large for me, but mainly because of the integrated rubber strap. But
because you're 6.15,
they're on a good day, maybe 6.2, but, you know, its size doesn't matter.
After a big session in the gym.
That's right.
I'm 7, and this is perfect for me. It would be right at the upper end of my watch sizes, but certainly this just fits like a glove on a 7-inch wrist. And because of that integrated nature, the 47 isn't unreasonable, but it's a monster. This is a big, hefty watch.
But even with that sort of thinness, you can see where it relates back to that professional sense. This might be the sportiest out of everything that we have on the table here, especially because of that integrated rubber strap. But if you look at this one here, for example, also a Quartz chronograph, exactly the same module that we find in the one you're wearing. But this has sort of an everyday office piece. Fantastic, really.
Two more things I want to focus on here because they're catching my eye. One is the bezel. What is this super shiny bezel? Is that not ceramic?
It's not ceramic. They call it an ion-plated bezel. So it has this sort of distinct look of ceramic. It does offer some scratch resistance properties. It is not scratch proof like ceramic could be, but of course there's no cost associated with ceramic.
Yeah.
It comes at a much lower price point.
Yep. And also the dial, it's carbon fiber.
That's right, it is actual carbon fiber, but they've still managed to integrate solar technology into this one here, so you have months of battery life on a single charge, and yeah, you know, if you just chuck it in a drawer for a while, it'll keep not ticking, so yeah.
And the 23 on the bezel, what's going on there?
Ah, yes, this is from my 5-minute not that deep dive into Japanese plays on words. So the number 2 in Japanese is ni, the number 3 is san. You put those two together and you get Nissan.
I thought it was Michael Jordan, but it's not.
It is not. Yeah,
no connection.
I don't know, maybe there is something, but don't remember him driving in this.
23 just means goat. It just means, I just look at that and think whatever has the 23 on it is very good at what they do.
Yeah, sure.
But if we're being honest, the part of the Edifice collection that really appeals to me as someone that thinks far too much about watches and focuses far too much on watches is that there's quite a bit happening in the top end of the Edifice collection that is pretty actually distinct from, and it's kind of unique.
It is. It's really unique in the sense that it incorporates all of these features that we've come to know and love from Casio. So we've got many cities for the world timer, even more when you connect them to your phone, which is a bit of a spoiler as to some other features that these have. Many alarms, a chronograph, and again, that sort of tough solar technology that we see across the Casio range, not just with Edifice. And with all of those features, they still manage to remain, I mean, this is really under 10 millimeters thin.
It's really surprising. I actually haven't ever put one on wrist. I'm going to do it right now. And this will surprise it because it is, you know, Astron, there are other competitors in this space that are highly complicated and you know, function-filled watches. They're generally a little bit heftier on the wrist.
Exactly right. So the one you're wearing is actually the heftiest of them all. The two that we have here, all under 10 millimeters thin.
Wow. So proper dress sort of
exactly
thickness.
Right. They still are quite large watches in diameter, sort of 45 millimeters and over. But I mean, as a smaller wristed person, I've actually worn this one for the entire weekend, and I've really enjoyed it.
Can we get to the fun part now?
Okay. So
there is a very fun part here.
You can do the honors this time.
Okay, so, great. Just tell me which one to press.
Just hold down the bottom left button until it...
Bottom left or bottom right?
The other left.
Okay, that's all right.
So hold it down.
Hold it down.
Wait until it does another
Where's Porter's phone?
We'll find out now.
Oh!
There it is. Groovy as always.
So what is this function? I'm going to turn that off. As much as I love that song.
They really play into this sort of 80s style that, you know, digital watches that Casio has been known for. They chose to put that sound in the Find Your Phone feature.
Yep.
Because this one is connected to my phone for the moment.
Yep.
And I really have to give it to Casio when it comes to that connection. It is so simple to connect. You don't have to sign away your rights or your right to vote or any stupid stuff like that. It just connects.
Yeah.
It is beautifully simple.
So if you like that musical segment, then you should definitely watch a more in-depth review of this watch. Across the range here, we just have, I suppose, the real hallmarks of Edifice that you should remember or that give it a brand positioning and identity are elevated version of a standard Casio, to put it on the wrist of professional people.
Absolutely. And there's something here for everyone, really. If you are just someone who appreciates a simple watch, you don't need any of the frills. We've got 3 models here. We've got this lovely sort of classic looking chronograph. If you want something that is a little bit more sportier in a larger size, we've got 2 watches here, and many others in their
Starting
catalog.
to get into the motorsports as well.
Exactly right,
Yeah.
exactly right. And if you really want to hone in on what Edifice really is, when all of those features, including the musical number, well, that's always available as well.
And also, there's longer versions of this video around the site. So search for Edifice if you want to learn more. We're about to do in-depth collection reviews of the complicated models and also the Quartz chronographs. So you can find that on Time+Tide. Thanks for watching. The journey's begun.
Sure has. Musically.
Musically, let's do it again.
It's a bit anticlimactic, you have to wait for it.
I know, it's dramatic tension. Did I hold it long enough? No?
Has to click once. And now we wait.
See you in the next video.